Hello. Tonight we're going to talk about interoception and we're going to have a positive emotion portfolio exercise. Some really cool words, right? Uh, just got an email in my inbox today from Neuroscience News, and I was made aware of interoception, which turns out to be a fascinating aspect of our sensory perception that involves the ability to sense and interpret the signals originating from within our bodies, including the emotional and visceral sensations. Mhm. So this interoception, it's a very sophisticated word for increasing your internal self-awareness and elevating the sense of self, because the sense of self is more than the physical body. So you can think of interoception as an internal sense, similar to how we use our sense of sight, our sense of hearing, the sense of taste, touch, and smell to perceive the external world. And it provides us with valuable information about the state of our body and the body's needs. That's a big deal without you having to think about it too much. And it enables you to respond and adapt accordingly and quickly. Quickly. Now, the process of interoception involves the complex coordination of various sensory and neural pathways. I like these words: neuroplasticity, neural pathways. These sensory receptors in our organs and tissues, known as interoceptors, they send signals to our brain, particularly to areas such as the insular cortex, cingulate cortex, and other regions involved in the sensory processing. And once these signals reach the brain, they are integrated, interpreted, and transformed. Keywords: integrated, interpreted, and transformed into conscious experiences and bodily sensations. This is fascinating. Our brain does that all by itself. And but what's fascinating about it is that this allows you to feel emotions, to experience physical sensation, and to have a sense of your bodily self, to increase the sense of self from all of the aspects through all of the senses. And this is not just a passive process of perceiving bodily signals. It involves the active interpretation and integration of the signals with other cognitive and emotional processes. For example, when you feel a racing heartbeat, interoception helps you recognize it as a sign of excitement or anxiety. Is it excitement? It is anxiety if you have a rapid heartbeat? We don't know. And guides your emotional response and your subsequent behavior. And all of this happens in quick fractions of a second. And what's even more fascinating about interoception is that it's been linked to our sense of self and body awareness. Yeah, authentic self, yes. You want to increase your sense of self, not as in an overinflating ego, but your sense of self and your body awareness. And it contributes to your understanding of where your body ends and where the world begins. This is very interesting concept, but it's not new to me, where your body ends and where the world begins, because I have specific exercises for that. And it helps you distinguish between yourself and others in creating a sense of embodiment. And I am using this exercises to increase interoceptiveness with fearfulness. I've been using this exercise for many, many, many years. And if we don't know yet, we should know that our emotions are linked to physical sensation in our bodies. Well, that's how we know we have emotions, because we have a physical sensation. And before we are aware of the emotion, we are able to name the emotion, we have a physical sensation in the body. There is a sensory perception. For example, when you feel anxious, you feel like you have butterflies in your stomach, or when you notice that someone has put graffiti on your front fence. You don't like it. Yeah, I wouldn't like anybody putting graffiti on my front fence. You will feel angry. And your heart will beat quickly, your muscle will tighten, and you will start getting hot. Now, interoception means it recognizes these sensations, and because your interoception is linked to your emotional system. And for example, if you can feel yourself getting tense from anger, you know to slow down and take a few deep breaths. Or if there is no time to take a few deep breaths, you take a grounding thought. Because being able to read your own physical signs and emotional states directly impacts your ability to read another person's physical and emotional state. And why is this important? Well, it is important because it affects relationships and it affects everything that you do. The healthy sense of self is required for your success. Well, yeah, there's a lot of people that they follow a recipe for financial success and it works well for them. That's fine. That's one way to go about it. But more and more people are not interested in just financial success. And we talked about it before, didn't we? Now, being able to read your sensory, your physical signs, your emotional states, fearfulness, these techniques I've been teaching for over a decade, it's one of the most advanced practice that utilizes just thoughts and feelings. No machinery, no artificial intelligence. It is just thoughts and feelings. You get to practice. Now, feelings are different than emotions, and emotions are different than feelings. And there's going to be a whole another podcast talking about that, because I like talking about this and I like differentiating between emotions and feelings, especially in the English language, because the English language is a bit limited in this aspect, that emotions are, feelings are used instead of emotions, and vice versa, because there's two different things. Look at that languages, for example. And this skills, these fearfulness skills that utilizes just thoughts and feelings, a particular type of feeling, a feel of choice, help you recognize the sensations that are linked to your emotional system. And this way you gain the ability to quickly regulate your emotion. This is fascinating. And I've been teaching this for how long? And neuroscience, it's finally catching up with it. And at least they're publishing articles on it. The neuroscience of emotions, the neuroscience of feelings, and all kinds of other neuroscience. We've talked about the amygdala. I've talked about the amygdala, and I keep talking about the amygdala often because it's important. That's neuroscience. So we're not going to have, well, it's not a good idea because we don't know who is going to watch this live. We can do fearfulness practices one-on-one, or you can check the website, my website for this. And if you can particularly look under this attentional observational skills for adults, or focalization and memorization skills. There's quite advanced techniques that utilize just your thoughts, only your thoughts, to advance your interoception. Yeah. But tonight, what we're going to do tonight, because we can begin with a positive psychology exercise that we're going to do tonight, a positive psychology exercise called Positive Emotion Portfolio. And although in coaching one-on-one, I teach you how to feel a feeling or 2-3 feelings in 1 hour, that's a bit more complex. So you can try my website. You can try me directly for that. But right now, we're just going to have fun with Positive Emotion Portfolio. And with this exercise, you can take as little as 20 minutes or a week. So what are we doing with the Positive Emotion Portfolio? So with Positive Emotion Portfolio here, it says it helps you create positive emotions. Yeah. And you do want to create as many positive emotions as often as possible, because your amygdala, your neuroscience, is programmed for more negative emotions as opposed to positive emotion, for the purpose to protect you and to save you and to keep you away from harm, not for the purpose of you throwing your anger on other people. Right? So it's important for us to practice positive emotions, especially now that we live in an age of anxiety. Anxiety, it's a given, because life is happening at such a fast rate. I mean, how many years ago we lived in an age of stress, and before that, stress used to be a medical condition by which you would be excused by a doctor. No doctor is going to excuse you for stress unless there is a significant stress disorder by which you cannot function. But regular day-to-day stress, join a club. Now we're living in an age of anxiety. Everybody has some sort of anxiety. And having anxiety, doesn't mean that you're afraid of something and you're constantly processing fear. The anxiety, it's there because everything moves so fast and we have to catch up and keep pace with it. That's sufficient to trigger anxiety. So for this reason, it's very important to spend some time and develop positive emotion. And before I move on, Randy, do you want to add something?
It might help if you explain why it's important to develop positive emotion.
Well, it is because your nervous system is already gifted with the capacity for self-defense and preservation, and protecting your body, and it's your limbic system and your emotional system is gifted with a lot of negative emotions, because you need to save your life. You need to run away from harm. You need to defend yourself. You need to pull your hand away when you touch a hot plate, and a similar type of situation. So that needs to be there imprinted in your neuroscience, in your emotional processing. But now that we're living in an age of stress and an age of anxiety, we keep forgetting how to not feel stress and not feel anxiety and not feel upset and not feel angry all the time and overwhelmed. So it is very important to practice positive emotions every day, because if the architect that architected humans architected if the emotion theory, that's a lot of different theories, but some say there are 4 basic emotions, and some say there are 6 basic emotions. We have more emotions than that, but we were architected with this basic 4 or 6 emotion. If we look at them, 75% of those emotions are negative, and the purpose of that is to keep you away from harm and protect yourself and save your life. and then only 25% are positive. But the secret is being in a positive emotional state, it's our natural state. That's natural. The architect, when the architect architected the human body, did not need to program, so to speak, so many positive emotions, because it's a natural state of being for us humans to just be calm and happy and nice and polite and cordial and cooperative and collaborative and but we're not behaving as such lately because life is just happening at um, such a fast rate. Does that answer, Randy? Good enough?
Yeah, it's a good answer. I've been struggling with the question on if the architect didn't want us to live such a stressful life. Why did they design us to do it? And there's no answer I'm finding. But if meditation brings us to a natural state. Well,
Uh-huh.
why do we need it? Because the world is so stressed, our society is so stressed. Well, then why did the architect give us the ability to make a stressful life and then have us do something to get away from it? No answer,
Oh,
I know, but I
free will. That is free will. We gotta have a podcast on free will and what do we humans do with our free will that's
that's the
I'm going to enjoy that podcast. We're gonna do we're gonna do a session on that. But the answer is free will.
anyway. But yeah, what you said otherwise, yes, makes sense. I'm sorry, I just got off on a tangent.
All right. All right. That's good. That's good, good, good. So on this exercise, I'm looking here at my technology, clicking through technology. On this exercise, on step one of positive emotion, let me try this. How about this? All right. So, on the first step of a positive emotion, we are going to, I'm clicking through technology over here. All right, so now things are happening. So on the first step, we're going to select positive emotion, and we are given an example of 10 different positive emotions. And these are beautiful emotions to feel. And you would think that gratitude would not be an emotion, it would be more of a feeling. So here, when we come to the positive emotion, there is an interplay of emotion and a feeling, but let's just stick with the word emotion for this exercise. So here is the positive portfolio. And the focus of your positive emotion portfolio is select one or select or 10 of them or select, I would say select at least three of them that you have most difficulty with, from joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, awe, and love. So let's choose three of them. And during the next week, or right now, you are going to begin to pull together objects and mementos that evoke your chosen positive emotion. And this item may be verbal, auditory items, like a song, something that's auditory. It can be verbal, like a poem. You can recite a poem. It can be music, quotes, poems, photos, gifts, letters, email, cards, objects, and you can combine them in whatever format works for you, whether it's digital or whether it's physical, whatever works for you, whatever floats your boat. You want this to be a pleasant experience that disconnects you from all of the anxiety of life. And I want you to commit to spend a full week on building your portfolio and allow yourself to dive deeply into this emotion. Just have the emotion, because when you bring objects into play, objects and mementos, and especially photographs, doesn't matter whether they're physical photographs or digital photographs, it really doesn't matter. This will evoke an emotion. Read poetry will evoke an emotion. And have some fun with this. Doesn't have to be more than 10, 15 days, not even 15 minutes a day. I know we don't have time, but we do want to allocate time for this. Then, after you've committed and you spend every day, you spend some time on that positive emotion that you chose, um, spend this 15 minutes a day to revisit the contents of that positive emotion. So here are an example of 10 different positive emotions. You can make 10 different baskets, 10 different cards, 10 different bags, 10 different boards, something to let it be fun. And each day you're going to relook at everything you gather together, and reread love letters. And it doesn't have a love letter that's been addressed to you. That's not the idea. The idea is that you're going to evoke, if you want to work with the positive emotion of love, then you can reread a love letter that was written by somebody to somebody. And there are some really good love letters that you can find online. And examine some photos. Doesn't have to be your photos, not at all. It can be somebody else's photos. You can play wedding songs. Doesn't have to be your wedding song. It can be anything like that. But intentionally cultivate the feeling of the emotion. I want you to feel the emotion. There you go. Feeling is an emotion used in differently. I want you to feel the emotion. Yeah, because we can emote a feeling, but no, right now I want you to feel this positive emotion, and this way, this will become a skill. Feel the feeling is the secret, right? Randy, do you want to add something or a question before I move on?
There's just one thing that I think can be added on to this portfolio uh, that all of us tend to forget. I do, I should say. Uh, Olfactory senses, our sense of smell, olfactory is one of the most profound, evocative senses we have, much more than visual.
Yes.
So if
Yes.
if something can, if if somebody wants to evoke a positive feeling, then find something in addition to what you're saying. You can also find something that brings back or brings a memory, such as a an incense that smells like flowers, or a room, not a room freshener, that's artificial, but there are some things that you can get that smell like rainforests, these air freshener things that are very effective, and they're very evocative, and it can create an emotional, positive emotional experience with zero effort. So just another thing that we tend to, I tend to forget it. I heard an interview the other day. I remember it because I heard an interview the other day. I saw an interview the other day with somebody that was called an olfactory historian that
Mm.
tracks the history of smells,
Oh, that's interesting.
and it was very interesting. And she made the point that it just takes one smell. And she reminded me, and I was like, that's so true. So some things I could smell, and it instantly brings me an evocative emotion. For a lot of people, it's like the beach. If they can smell the ocean waves. For me, it would be like smelling pine trees. Would immediately make me think of bicycle riding,
Hmm.
and I with zero effort. It just happens. So anyway,
Interoception, yes. That is
that's
interoception, zero effort, correct. So the only effort we want to put in this exercise is to gather those evocative objects, and that are going to engage our senses so we can feel that emotion. So over here on this page, there are additional example on how you can gather the objects, collect verbal items, inspiring quotes, poems, uplifting affirmations that resonate with you. Then you can find visual items like photograph, artwork, images from magazines. You can include auditory elements by curating a playlist of music. Definitely include olfactory scents. As you can, right here, I have the scent of peppermint, or you can include the scent of rose, or any other scent, especially now with so many essential oils that we have, that you can take a pick, whatever it's pleasant to you. Then you can seek out personal items like gifts, letters, emails, cards, but they don't have to be yours. They can be anybody else's, as long as it evokes a positive emotion, right? We're not doing regression therapy here. We are just doing positive emotion. So I want you to feel that positive emotion, and then commit to spending a full week on that. And right here on this page, here are some examples of joy. So let's look at joy. There are several activities that can bring you pure joy, like dancing, for example. Dancing or singing or playing with a pet. Yes, playing with a pet, it would definitely do that. And dancing, well, even if you have arthritis, you can still dance, and you don't have to be sitting on your joints. You can move a little bit, and you can pretend to dance, as long as you move your body a little bit and feel good, because that will effortlessly, well, if you have arthritis, it's going to be a little bit of pain involved, but outside of that, begin to dance a little bit, it will generate the emotion of joy. And even you can start your morning by reflecting on something that fills you with joy and gratitude, like a beautiful sunrise. And again, touch upon those beautiful images that you've collected. Then we have gratitude. And gratitude, it would be a really good idea to keep a journal and write down 3 things that you're grateful for each day. This is actually an exercise. I give this exercise to my clients, and I have them text me each day 3 things they're grateful for. They do good at the beginning, and then they forget, and then I remind them 3 things. And sometimes people have difficulties coming up with answer. And how about plumbing? Would you be grateful for having plumbing, for having running water in a house, or air conditioning, or having heat? Something to be grateful for, running water. That's something to be grateful for, yeah. And then you can always find someone to express gratitude. You want to express gratitude to someone who has positively impacted your life. So if you can think of anyone, send me a message, because I have been positively impacted your life for the past how long? So even with this exercise right here, that is something to be grateful for. That is a small positive impact. And send me a thank you note. You don't know exactly what, we say, well, thank you, I'm expressing gratitude. That would do it. Send this to anybody. There are some people you don't want to say, I'm having all kinds of resisting ideas over here. Yes, there are some people that if you express your gratitude towards them, it's going to get into their head, and their sense of it, their ego will overinflate. And okay, you don't have to express your gratitude towards these people. There's other ways to express gratitude. Um, you go to the grocery store, you can intentionally say thank you very much to the clerk. Yeah. So many opportunities to say thank you to strangers. Mhm. And serenity. Serenity is a beautiful one. It's such a beautiful emotional state to experience serenity. It's one of the most beautiful emotional states, and of course you can practice meditation, mindfulness, better yet feelfulness for serenity. And you can create a peaceful space in your home where you can retreat and unwind. Um, Maybe a hot tub, or a shower. You can dim your lights, some soft lighting, some relaxing music. And this doesn't have to go on for a few hours. You can experience this for 15 minutes. Mm, yeah. But then we don't like coming out of this. So be serene with the fact, and be grateful and be joyful that you've done this exercise of serenity, and and then and then move on. Interest is another one. Randy, do you want to add something?
When I was doing the gratitude journal, when I do it, I usually do 10 things. And I'm always surprised sometimes about how ridiculously challenging that is. And I have to remember there are a multitude of things that we take for granted, and I
Mhm.
do.
Yeah.
And uh, running water is a good example. Another example is the ability to write, the ability to talk, the ability to hear. All these things we just to go through. We just take that for granted, and so yeah, it's I. It's a good exercise to remember what we've got. We all have problems, but we also have a lot of things that that we can be uh, gracious for if we think about
Hmm. Yes, yes, yeah. That's a very good. It's a very good note. Interest, interest. It's a good one, and it's very important to experience the sense of interest. Although you might be interested of getting a glass of water when you're thirsty, you can probably acknowledge it's like, oh, I'm interested in drinking a glass of water. And I'm sure now you're getting all kinds of idea, or all kinds of different glasses of all kinds of different interests. But you could be interested in and grateful and joyful for having clean water to drink. Yeah. Or you can definitely explore a new hobby, something that piques your interest, like cooking, or something that is learning a new musical instrument. It's going a distance. Some Learning a new app, how to use a new app. Now that's very handy to you. You have your smartphone in, and everybody's it's got a thumbs on a smartphone, and you can learn how to use a new app. An app that would be that would be beneficial to you, not wasting time on something, right? So that's interest. It's like, oh wow, I'm learning a new skill. Or you can also engage in stimulating conversation with others, asking questions and actively listening to broadening your interest and perspectives. Mhm. So that's a couple of ways to do it. Mhm. Then we have hope. Hope is very important. Not only that you want to surround yourself with positive and inspiring people, Whether you do this through in-person interaction or engaging with motivational content and positive content online, like this content right now. You can do this, or you can also set meaningful goals and break them down into actionable steps. Meaningful goals, actionable steps, focusing on the progress that you're making, because there is progress that we're all making progress. It's just a matter of how do you measure. And I always bring the concept of how do you evaluate, how do you measure, what kind of measuring tools do you have over something, over your life, over your successes, over your satisfaction, over your happiness. I do this with all of my clients, because in this day of age, there are so many different ways to measure, and the way you measure in one life domain, you would not use the same measurement approach to a different life domain. So it's very important to look at this, but set some goal and break this down into a small actionable step. And your goal for this exercise would be to create your positive emotion portfolio for this week, and have some fun. And then you set up the goal and you break it down in smaller actionable steps. Then a smaller step with each day, you have the goal of spending the 15 minutes into this, creating this positive emotion portfolio. Then you have pride, and pride will show up automatically as a positive pride. It will show up automatically when you set a goal and you've achieved that goal. It's as simple as this. I feel good about that I achieved my goal. Mm-hmm. And you can also reflect on past accomplishments or challenges that you have overcome, and remind yourself of the hard work and determination that went into all of the hard work, all of the accomplishment that you have overcome, and all of the challenges. So even if you just reflect on that, you will experience the emotional state of pride. It's a sense of satisfaction, and feeling good about your accomplishments and overcoming challenges. And we have amusement. With amusement, you can engage in playful activities such as board games, other games, telling jokes with friends and families, or listening to other people telling jokes. You can watch a funny movie, or a stand-up comedy. Nowadays, they're also easily reachable online. But if you want to go out to a stand-up comedy, by all means, go ahead and enjoy it. If you have the time and the money and the place to go to, because all of this will lighten your mood and experience moments of laughter. It's very important laughter is very important. And there is such thing as laughter yoga, where you go into this yoga classes and you begin laughing, and there is nothing to laugh at, but you begin laughing, and you fake laugh, and eventually you're going to start laughing, because fake laughing is kind of funny. And if you delve a little deeper into laughter, you will see that anger and laughter are very similar. So by you practicing this fake laughter that eventually will take you into funny laughter, you will also have the ability to develop the skill to quickly shift from anger to laughter, to elevate your interoception, to elevate your skill to shift your emotional state. And by this, you just elevate your emotional intelligence, you skyrocket your emotional intelligence with these skills. And then we have inspiration. Randy, you want to add something?
The only thing I might add is that how many? We've got a couple more after inspiration. Uh, uh, it might be helpful to add just at this point that these are all good, wonderful things to do, and doing these can definitely bring these bring positive emotions into your life through the positive emotions for you. If for whatever reason you start doing one of these things, let's say it's a gratitude list, or let's say that you're looking for something interesting and it just falls apart, you can't do it. You do it maybe once and then you quit, and or twice, or that you can't think of anything to be hopeful about, for instance. If any of those barriers arise, it sometimes is useful, not always, but if you can't get past it, that's when it's a good time to consult somebody like Carmen for possible uh, hypnosis, just one session, maybe, to look at what are some of the unconscious, subconscious blockage that may be happening that's keeping me from doing something that I know is good for me. Because we know it's good to feel hope, we know it's good to feel pride. So what stops us from doing it? Why do we? Why, if it's good for us and it's easy and it's natural and it makes us feel good, well, why the hell aren't we all doing it all the time? And one of the reasons is that's true. One of the reasons is because there's something going on that's blocking it. And going to a hypnotherapist, I'm not doing private practice, Carmen is, can help figure out what is the blockage there, what's stopping it. So anyway, that's all I'd say.
That's a very good point. That then Randy always does a good job to always does a good job to remind me, which I have hypnosis clients every day, to bring out this valuable tool as a tool. Um, because during a hypnosis session you can definitely experience serenity, and you can definitely experience gratitude, and you can experience all of this positive emotion and joy and serenity and interest and curiosity and amusement during the hypnosis session, because with hypnosis we get to reduce the amount of stimuli input. Only by closing your eyes you reduce the amount of stimuli input, and then your attention gets narrower and more focused, and then your parasympathetic system calms you down, and then all of a sudden you expand, and then you can even experience the emotion of awe. It's like, oh wow, that was, I can't believe, oh wow, that was cool. So I get a lot of this reaction from clients, and there you go. It can be as simple as that. But you can also experience awe just by spending time in nature, whether you go for a hike or you visit a park, or simply observing the beauty of a sunset, of a starry sky. Um, or you can explore museum or art galleries or cultural exhibitions that showcase breathtaking works or historical artifacts that evoke a sense of awe and wonder. To me, architecture would be one of the things that would inspire awe and wonder, because I would always say, like, wow, how did they do that? It's like, wow, that's, you can see that a lot of work went into it, a lot of thought, a lot of precision, and you go, oh, wow. So there you go. Do you've experienced awe? It's just when you go, oh, wow. And it is a good emotional state to be in when you have the experience of, oh, wow. Yeah. And then we get to love. And I'm not talking about the romantic kind of love, because sometimes we have difficulties with that. But is your kitty cat a puppy dog? And if you don't have one at home, go to a shelter or go to a park and see somebody else's, and or just go online, or go to watch a Lifetime movie, a romantic movie, to um, or nowadays there's quite a significant number of um, what's the word on that, the reality TV that involve the feeling of love, that you can get inspiration from that. But self-love, it's very important. And that means engaging in self-care activities that nurture your well-being and things that make you feel good. You can take a bubble bath, you can treat yourself to something you enjoy, read a book, go for a walk, um, anything that nurtures you. And that is love. Love is not a simple emotion. Love is the whole force of life. But for this exercise, experiencing the positive emotion of love, here's a good way for you to experience that. Do you want to add something yet, Randy?
Uh, no, I think those are good. Um, uh, um, yeah, I, from a male viewpoint, taking bubble bath is not something that most men are going to want to do. Uh,
Okay.
I can think of something else. Yeah, there are other things. I mean, a lot of men, uh, their self love is playing a sport, going hunting. I live in south in the south, and lots and lots of men and women practice lots of self love by going out hunting. So and fishing down here especially. So anyway, yeah.
Yeah, but yes, because that's an activity that nurtures you. It nurtures your soul. So reading a book you enjoy, it's self-love. Reading about interoception might be self-love. Definitely there'll be interest and amusement and awe and wonder. Um, but love is not just a simple emotion that is limited to the romantic type of love. Absolutely not. But what I would like to leave you with for today is the Serenity Prayer. Yeah. It is Serenity Prayer. It's often recited and reflected upon as a reminder to find peace and acceptance in situations beyond your control, so you can gather the strength to make changes when possible and to discern between the two. One of the reasons we are overwhelmed with stress is that we forget to discern between the two, and we forget where to exercise control and where can we change things and where we cannot, and not to stress over it, or to feel afraid over the things that we are to change. And Serenity Prayer is also used as a resource of inspiration and guiding principle for navigating life's challenges with serenity and resilience. Oh, do we want to experience serenity and resilience all the time and all the time, all the time? That's resilience is important. So the Serenity Prayer goes as, God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change. Accept the things I cannot change. Give me the courage to change the things I can. Have the courage to change the things you can, but then have the wisdom to know the difference. Some things you're going to accept that you cannot change. Some things require you to have courage to change them. and then you need to know the difference, because not everything you can change. And going about wanting to change other people, that's wishful thinking. A lot of people are focused on changing other people, and that's not how serenity goes. You changing other people? No, no. You change yourself, and you develop a better sense of yourself. And going through this positive emotion portfolio exercise will help you get there. Randy?
Yeah, the serenity prayer is a well-known prayer. It's used a lot in AA. I think it's even in the AA book. I think. But yeah, it's very. We it's not. A lot of people say that's in the Bible. That came from the Bible, I think. It did come from the Bible. It came from this philosopher, theologian named Richard Niebuhr, I think. Anyway, yeah, but it's very. It's a really nice, compact way to and to water the serenity in our garden. That's for sure. So yeah, I think it's a great way to sum it up.
All right. All right. So this is your positive emotion portfolio for the day. Here is a recap. Let's see which one shows better. Maybe this one that brings it more in the center. And we're going to recap some of the pages. And a few more seconds on this page right here. We want to positively experience joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, and love. So me and Randy certainly love bringing this content to you. Hope this makes your week a better week and your day a better day. And make sure to send us feedback on how your positive emotion portfolio exercise went. All right. All right. Thank you very much.